Something in you has been trying to change for a long time. You have felt it, that quiet pull toward a different version of your life, a different way of moving through the world. And yet, here you are, still recognizing the same patterns, still bumping into the same walls. And I want to talk about why that is, not to discourage you, but because understanding it honestly might be the most useful thing anyone has ever offered you on this subject. We talk about personal change like it is a decision, like one morning you simply choose differently and the river of your life bends toward a new horizon. But that is not how rivers work, and that is not how people work either. Think about it this way. Imagine a river that has been carving the same path through the earth for decades. The water knows exactly where to go. The banks have shaped themselves around the flow. The ground beneath has hardened into the memory of every drop that ever passed through it. Now you show up with a shovel and your two bare hands, and you want it to go somewhere else. You want it to turn left when it has always turned right. You are not fighting laziness. You are not fighting weakness. You are fighting geology. Every habit you have, every reaction, every way you interpret silence or respond to conflict or shrink when opportunity walks into the room, those are not personality flaws. They are architecture, built slowly, built across years, built because at some point they served a real purpose. Your nervous system is not confused. It is loyal. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do, and it was trained by everything that ever happened to you before this moment. That is why change feels so disproportionately hard compared to how simple it looks from the outside. You are not just trying to build a new behavior. You are trying to reroute water that has been flowing downhill in the same direction since you were young. Every thought pattern, every emotional reflex, every automatic response you have ever had has deepened that channel, made it wider, made it easier for the water to choose that path again and again without thinking. And here is the part that almost nobody says out loud. The effort required to redirect that river is enormous, and it is invisible. Nobody sees the internal work. Nobody celebrates the moment you caught yourself before the old reaction took over. Nobody notices the 1,000 tiny times you chose differently before anything on the outside actually shifted. Change hides itself in its earliest stages. It asks everything of you while showing you nothing back, and that silence is brutal. But there is something even more important I want you to hear, because this is where so many people quietly make everything harder for themselves without realizing it. While you are trying to redirect the river, what is your relationship with the water that keeps returning to the old path? What is your relationship with the version of you that still flinches, still retreats, still reaches for the old habit when the day gets heavy? Because if you are treating that version of yourself with contempt, if every moment of regression becomes evidence that you are broken or hopeless or not trying hard enough, then something painful is happening beneath the surface of your effort. Shame does not redirect rivers, it just muddies the water. When you are unkind to the part of you still holding on to old patterns, you are not motivating change. You are reinforcing the very conditions that made those patterns necessary in the first place. Those patterns did not appear randomly. They showed up because some part of you needed protection, needed certainty, needed to know how to survive a version of life that felt unsafe or unpredictable. And when you meet that part of yourself with cruelty, when you call it weak or pathetic or evidence of failure, you confirm the story that made it necessary. You tell that part of you that the world is still as harsh as it always was, and it holds on tighter. Real change, the kind that actually lasts, requires something that sounds almost too gentle to be effective. It requires you to hold both things at once. The genuine desire to be different, and genuine compassion for the version still learning how. Not as a way of excusing patterns that are causing you harm, but as a way of creating the internal safety that makes a different choice feel possible. You cannot shame yourself into growth. you can only scare yourself into hiding. So when the river returns to its old path, and it will, because rivers do not reroute in a single day, the question is not what is wrong with you. The question is, what does this moment need? More patience, more practice, more honesty about what you are actually up against. The shovel is still in your hands, the work is still worth doing, but you are working with something that took a lifetime to build, and it will take more than a week, more than a month, sometimes more than a year before the new channel holds enough water to feel like it belongs there. Progress in this territory is almost never the dramatic turning point people imagine. It is smaller than that. It is subtler. It is the moment you notice the pattern before it completes. It is the half-second of awareness that was not there before. That is the shovel moving earth. That is the river, barely beginning to consider another way. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are trying to move something enormous with the most human tools available to you. And the kindness you extend to yourself in that process is not weakness. It is the very thing that keeps you showing up long enough for the ground to finally shift.